Get ready to get in the game. Stretch, strengthen, live, and thrive. You can be a winning athlete in the game of life. It's the Peel Appeal with author and corrective exercise specialist Matt Peel.
Hey, this is Matt Peel, host of the Peel Appeal podcast. How are you today? What's happening out there in your world? I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are, and I'm about to make it even better. Why? Because we're going to talk about something that's really important for all of us as we go, not just with our physical health, but through our mental health and our emotional health. And the Peel Appeal is reaching out all over the world, literally. So today, I'm speaking with a gentleman from Ireland, but guess what? In Ireland, he's actually in Thailand. Who thought of that? Technology is amazing. We can live around the world. We can talk around the world. So today, I'm speaking with Richard Tierney. He's the creator of Trauma Recovery Anonymous. And we're going to talk about why it's important to help release our past, to help us emotionally, which then, our physical health is related to our emotional health, and how we connect them, and then get ourselves back on track emotionally, mentally, so that we can be our best then physically. So Richard, welcome to the Peel Appeal podcast.
Matt, thanks for having me. Really great. I'm very excited to be here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm so glad to have you on the other side of the globe from New Orleans, Louisiana, where I am currently standing and recording this. So it's nighttime here. It's morning time for you as we try to figure this out. So tell us a little bit about, Richard, why did you get into this space in the first place?
I suppose it came from my own experience. I had experience when I was 12 years of age as a child. I suffered a trauma event that destroyed, believed I must have caused it to happen. I must have attracted the person to me. I must have given some signal out. I was full of such shame and self-loathing. It wasn't that I wanted to die. I just didn't want to live. Such shame and embarrassment and all the kind of stuff you carry. As a child, I didn't know anything. I didn't know that I was a victim. That I had caused this happen. I lost faith from my family and shame and all kind of stuff. Too much to put on a 12-year-old child who doesn't know any better, who had been brought very sheltered and protected. So it really wasn't a good place to come. And then for most of my life, I've been trying to run away from myself, run away from what happened. I used addiction and self-harming. I had been suicide twice. Thankfully, I didn't
Really?
succeed. But I had many times of self-harming and very good dysfunctional relationships. Trying to pick people to hurt me, I set myself up to be attacked. Just crazy behavior, just anything that would. I didn't have this courage to kill myself. I was trying to put myself in situations that would cause my death, so I wouldn't be doing this. But crazy thinking, just crazy, insane thinking for a 12-year-old child. The problem was, as a 12-year-old child, I never grew emotionally forward. So as an 18-year-old man, I was a 12-year-old child in a nation to talk about the adult child. I was at the age of 35. I was a 12-year-old child, 35-year-old, and so on. So I couldn't have relationships, be in relationships. I couldn't get past the sense of being victim.
Wow. That's powerful, because I'm sure there are many of us out there who are in those shoes, and wherever that trauma was, it pauses us emotionally, mentally from growing. Physically, you're right. We're still growing. Can't stop that. We're gonna get older in age. There's nothing you can do about it. But as far as where that is, I know I've had my own battles, and everybody has. I've been going therapist here for a few years after I had a breakup in a relationship that really kind of crushed me. But before that, there were other breakups in relationships. And then one day, you're right, you hit a wall. You're like, how I've got to make a change, or else these things are going to kind of come themselves. So it's important. And then you develop this program to help people with self-help on their own. So talk about the first step of that, and that's teaching your client to be their own healing therapist. So what is that?
And I have to say to your audience, we don't prepare these questions beforehand. I didn't tell you what to ask me. You come up with, I'm loving I've never done a podcast before until I came across this platform, and I've had about 6 podcasts already. And you guys, you come up with the most wonderful questions that just blow me away how powerful they are. So what I want to understand is, I remember my own experience was about 15 years. I had this mentor in AA. We call him a sponsor. Someone teaches you to be sober and clean and take care of your side of the street. No, you're not. And I used to be always victiming about it. He'd say to me, "It's the time to get back." And I was furious that he suggests I give up my old victim art. Oh, my resentments. I mean, how does he think he is? This happened to me. And he can't suggest to me I should give it up. It was the first I formed an intimate personal relationship, not sexual, but like mental connection. So my family, I'd let someone get close. And I didn't want to give it up. I wanted to run away, but something part of me wanted me not to give it up and find out why he would have said that. So I started looking at the whole thing about the past and the present. We've seen things in history where in Irish culture, it's the past is history, tomorrow is a mystery, all we have. Don't swear by the spilled milk, it's water under the bridge. And the Bible says, let the dead bury the dead. These kind of things struck home to me about the fact that I'm only in existence here today in these 24 hours. I'm sitting here with Peel on his podcast in my home here. I'm 63 years of age, 64 years of age. My wife and children are downstairs at breakfast. It's 9 a.m. in the morning here. And here alive today, I only had yesterday is gone. I can't step back into yesterday. I can't change any part of yesterday. I can't even go back to 8 a.m. this morning and change what I did at 8 a.m. I only have this moment in time right now where I'm actually alive. So everything happened before 9 a.m. is no longer any of my business. I can't go back and change. Yes, I can't. I can change something last week or last month, last year. So I realize it's an insight where you work with physical body and fitness and health and well-being and food. I'm targeting the soul, our spirit. I think the spirit's a big part of it. I think if you're very depressed and someone says, go for a run, the chances are you'll come for a run, you'll be depressed and you'll be wrecked. The spirit is the thing that we need to kind of charge so that it'll give us the gusto to do more stuff and feel betterness. And the spirit is where it's all at our soul. So the goal of this program was that I don't live in your head, Matt. So I have no idea what the relation did to you. From outside, you can tell me, like, give me respect. But I'm not you. I don't know what it was like for you. So I need you to heal you because you're the only person who can do that inside job to change your attitude, your perspective of that relationship, how that affects you forward. You're the only person who can do that. For myself, I went to a therapist as a child, and they were the most loving, caring, nurturing, empathetic people. I really have really high regard for them. But they couldn't see inside my brain. They could hear my story, couldn't see the pain that was in my soul. There was a hole in my soul that no one could see. They could see how it manifested mentally, physically, emotionally, but they couldn't see the hole in my soul. They couldn't see how deep it was within there. I was eating away. See that. They could only treat how it manifested. So they treat me for mental, emotion, spiritual, and physical. But they couldn't heal the hole in my soul. The only person who can heal the hole in my soul is me. The only person who can heal the hole in you, your soul, is you.
Right. Right. And you're right. Therapists can help us realize and be aware of what's happened now based on our past experiences. And I'm learning that and still go through that and work to grow on it. Breaking free of that, as you say, the cause, right? That there's no longer, a rhyme or reason for the effect of what's happening now. So how can someone within themselves break free of that past trauma, break free of that cause?
I just hope these, sorry, I have to keep stop saying that. Okay. So I want you to imagine right now, I imagine that you're about 40 years of age. Okay. You don't tell me exact age. I want you to imagine that right now you're going through some terrible trauma in your life today. Not about what you brought back from your past, but in that moment. And you're suffering, enduring, and surviving that. So in the future, it'll be gone. And then I want you to picture in your mind's eye a future in, say, 20 years' time. A 60-year-old man. You've gotten through all the trauma. It's all over and it's behind you. you've done this to give them a life beyond your wildest dreams. And then you see this new version of you at 60 years of age, climbing into the recesses of their mind, going up to the dark corner and dragging out this chest from the corner, opening up this chest and putting on this cloak upon their back and zipping it up and putting it up. And it's the troubles of yours today. And you've sacrificed that they be free of it in 20 years' time. And you see them putting this cloak on and going around telling everybody what happened to you 20 years ago. How would you feel? What would you want to say to your future self who's taking your baggage that you have overcome, defeated, and he's giving it life in 20 years' time, and he's giving life to it, and he's now in the day to eat into his life. You've done so much to give him a free of it, and he's choosing to go back 20 years and ignore the life you've given him, or to suffer your life from 20 years ago. For you today, what would you want to say to your youngest, or your new self? Would you want to say, give me back my shit, feck off and enjoy this life I worked so hard to give you? Or would you say, thank you very much for giving my abuse to victims. Thank you for choosing to be a victim for my abuse. Thank you for choosing to ruin your life I've worked so much for. I'm really happy. What would you say?
Right. Yeah. That's powerful, because what we do now sets us up for, yes, the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. What are we dragging from 10, 15 years ago into today that we're going to be dragging into 10, 15, 20 years ago? And on a physical side, it's the same thing, right? How are we treating our physical bodies now sets us up for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And it's why we're here now. I guess the opportunity is that it can change. When we change today and make a decision to change their physical health, or make a change today to change our emotional health, that now puts a different trajectory on the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, which, as you say, is the effect, right? If I'm stating this correctly, which can then help with our spirit and healing that hole that we currently have in our soul.
So yeah, what I want to kind of expand upon, what I'm trying to suggest here is that for me, if I suffer a trauma today, survive, it's horrible and so all that kind of stuff, therapy and everything, I get through it, and I defeat it, and I overcome it, put it, I've got the dead taken away, and it's gone. And I've done this. Future version of me in 10 years' time, he enjoys retirement and his grandchildren, playing golf, whatever. And then when I see him in the future having this wonderful life, and then for some reason I see him step into his mind, take out this cloak, and start suffering for no reason. I don't know what the reason is. He's saying, give me back my shit. To take my crap. To have it. It's mine. It's not yours. It's given to you because you live in 10 years' time. So it's not your shit to deal with. Give it back to me. So we do this transaction where we give the past back to his wife alone. So when I did this trauma myself, I gave this trauma back to the 12-year-old child who suffers. I didn't suffer. I'm 63 years of age, or 64 years of age. I keep forgetting I'm a year older. I'm 64 years of age. I'm a 12-year-old child. I can't be in two places at once. I can't. I'm a 6-year-old father and a 12-year-old child in Ireland, 7,000 miles from any parents. My parents, his parents are alive. They had 5 siblings. So he had 5 siblings. One of my siblings had leukemia, so I only have 4 siblings. He lives in the family home in Ireland. I lived in Thailand, north, 7,000 miles. If we took a photograph of him, we put a photograph of me, you could see there may be a family resemblance, but we're not the same person. But he suffered that, and my life is these 24 hours. So I don't get to process the past. It's nothing to do with it. I got to find a way of giving the whole Matt to him. So for you, Matt, you were in a difficult relationship. The Matt at this relationship with me was 30 years of age. So the 30-year-old Matt's looking at you saying, Matt, would you give me back the relationship and walk and have me a new relationship? Just give me everything that went wrong in the relationship, the rejection, the abandonment, the fail. Give it all to me. It's nothing to do with you. You're in a new relationship at 40. Just enjoy that relationship. But I survived that relationship at 30. Give me back my crown. It's nothing to do with you. Because my younger self can't cross over into life. Man should be perfect until he has all his baggage. And me bringing his baggage into the present and giving life to the present means he cannot cross over. But once I do this healing event, I get myself to give back to my younger self. And I see a visualization where I give it to him, he takes the floppy. I see him stepping through it. In that moment, it leaves me. So it remains, I'm going to have all my memories. We're meant to have all our memories for all our lives. It's everything that happened in our lives. But all the other memories, I don't have the details. They're gone. I'll tell you about being a child in a three-legged race or a potato sack race when I was a child. I can tell you about my first girlfriend, how bad it went, but there's no details. It's only a memory. So
Right.
we can give the past back to your younger self and they leave this plane of existence. We're left with the memory. So if someone, therapist asks me what happened to you, well, I'd say, oh, that child was terrible. And I feel deeply for him. We didn't that child. And he's gone. My life is today now. So it's that kind of visualization, giving it to your younger self, letting them leave this whole plane of existence, and you stepping into your 24 hours. So that's the only way you can do this. No one else can do this for you.
That's super insightful, Richard. Giving that back to that person at that day and time and separating yourself from where you are now, because you're right. To take the example, you're pretty close. I'm 49, so I am in my 40s, but you're right. But to say, okay, whatever 30, give that back to that 30-year-old Matt, right? That's not the 49-year-old Matt. Give it to them and let that 30-year-old Matt have it. Separate myself from it. And then from there, kind of talk about there's 12-step program, kind of like AA, which you say you've been through, that someone can go through. And we don't have to go through all the 12 steps, but going through that can help undo, all the mayhem of the past. So give me a little bit of a highlight maybe of what those 12 steps can do for someone.
Well, the best one to understand is once you do this visualization, it's really is wonderful. You get into like a meditative stance and you see your younger self standing on the clouds around the whole space. Give me my shit. Give me everything. Give me that woman back and whatever. Just give it all back to you. And you get the sense of leaving your body and giving it to the angels, taking the whole baggage and giving it to him. And he steps into this. There's a weightless in your body. You feel it shifting from your body. So at that moment, you're not a victim of your past ever again. So everything that happened up until 9 a.m. this morning is none of my business. So I'm not a victim of anything that happened before 9 a.m. I'm not a victim of who's in power in America, what's happening in war in Europe, what's happening in my country in Ireland, what's happening with my family and my in-laws, or my family here in Thailand, or my in-laws in Thailand, or the laws in Thailand. None of it's my business. My business is solely these 24 hours in front of me. From 9 a.m. until I go to bed at 10 o'clock. My day now is 13 hours. So the main focus of this 12-step program is I am not a victim of anything. First, I'm not a victim. The second step is we're not alone. So you have your family here, your friends, you've got your new partner. I've got my wife, my children, my dogs. I walk my dogs and go, swimming. I go walking. I play golf. I play chess. I've got my phone. We've all got our phone. It's great. Escape for TikTok or YouTube video that has. So we're not alone. We can talk to somebody. If you're having a really bad day and you're stuck and you see some stranger, say, listen, do you mind if I just talk with you for 10 minutes? Don't ask me, don't fix me. Just let me speak to you. You're a stranger, and they could be deaf and dumb, and you just spew out what you have in your head. And you walk away and you feel better for it. You share a portrait, a church, and you priest or a pastor, confession books, whatever it is. You write down a bit of paper and you flush down the toilet and you give it to God. So the second step is knowing you're not alone. There's powers from this social services, going to the police station, wherever it is, you can find someone you can talk to. Tell them you're going crazy. Tell them you're having a hard time. You can tell your partner you're having a hard time in the relationship and you need help, training, you need schooling, you want to go back to school, you want to go to college. There's so much help on this. The second step. The third step then is allowing God in. So when I ask clients is to give God a second chance. You open a second chance. You're always good at bad because of the people who represent him on this earth. Still him again, recent pedophiles, all this kind of stuff we see around, but he's got a bad rep. You don't have to go to church, you don't have to join a religion or a denomination. Just take a moment. Don't say anyone you're doing this. Go into your room and say, okay, God, I'm going to command you to prove to me you care. Take my shit off me for 10 minutes. Peace of mind. That's all you say. Okay, God doesn't give you a peace of mind for 10 minutes. He's not there. So you give it to him for 10 minutes, then you accept you're giving it to him. And then sit for 10 minutes to see how you feel. And if you find for 10 minutes, the shit's gone, you kind of go, okay, I can work with this. I can work with this. And that's your third step. The fourth step is basically, if you're not a victim, then you have to change your street because for the last 10, 20 years, you've been living as a victim, and pushing people away, those who hurt you, but also your loved ones. Who's good and who's bad. You're putting everybody away. You're people, you're upsetting people. You're causing disruptions in your job and your family. So you want to make amends. And you pick 5 people. So it's your wife, your mother, your father, your family unit, your boss. Just 5 on in your life and present. And they're the 5 people you focus on making amends in the institution.
Right. So let's stop there on that, because the important part is someone who is, people that are listening right now, you out there who are listening, and this is intriguing you, right? What we want you to do is actually go out there and get Richard's book, get in touch with Richard, and find out what these other steps are that can help you get over the trauma that you're going through in your life right now. So talk real quick, Richard, as we kind of wrap this up about, healing this past trauma and where can they go finish out these steps.
The trauma program is on Amazon Kindle. It's a Kindle book, an ebook. It's how to heal any past trauma. And it's the whole process of giving the past back to your younger self. It's recommended that you have someone work with you, that they read it to you, and then you take the instructions rather than reading it and doing it yourself. It's very hard to read the instructions and take the instructions at the same time. Much easier to have someone, your partner, friend, a recovery buddy, they read to you, you do the suggestions, and then you read it and they do the suggestions, and you compare notes to see how you. The most important part of this is to keep the past away. Once you give the past away, you can even walk away from it. A lot of people don't need to do the 12 steps, but trauma isn't buried deeper in them. It's just a healing event, and then they can let it go. But for those of us like friends who maybe have from a war from 20 years, they've been carrying PTSD or some diagnosis for 20 years, they may have to do a lot of work to get rid of that 20 years of dysfunction. The cause is the past trauma. The effect is we were diagnosed with whatever condition and suffering. And when you can give away the past trauma memory to your younger self, there's no longer any reason to maintain the diagnosis, the condition, because the condition was born out of the trauma. But the trauma gone, you just unlearn that dysfunction.
Right. So go to
books
Amazon.
are available on Amazon.
Both books are available. So give us the name of those books again one more time.
It's Trauma Recovery Anonymous is the program.
Okay.
And then the first part of it is how to heal any past trauma memory by Trauma Recovery Anonymous. So that book is for healing event. And as I say, reading it to yourself can be very hard to follow the instructions. You can get someone who's a recovery buddy, your partner, to read it and you follow the instructions. And even though the instructions might sound crazy, just do them, because what they promise you is you're going to perform miracles upon yourself. I don't want to say this lightly now. I really do mean this. The miracles we claim for ourselves is a change of mind, attitude, perspective. Not changing water to wine or raising the dead, but we get to change our attitude, outlook, perspective, who and what and where we come from. And that's the miracle we get, to be a normal, boring human being.
So they can also, you also have a YouTube channel that people can follow. So what's that YouTube channel that they can learn?
It's called Tierney. I haven't been on it for a long while, really working on these books and getting us up and running. I have an email address. It's
okay, go ahead, give it.
TraumaRecoveryAnonymous.com. Be reached at that email address if you want to talk more. Host you on, if you want to do, and I can do groups of anything up to 100 people, so we can share the load. So I charge €300 for one person, or else it's 300 people for 2 people, or 300 people for 3, or 300 for 4, or 300 for 5, or 300 people for 6. I charge €30 per person. It's more than that.
So I think the important part, though, if you're interested, and this is an important part of your emotional, your mental health, which could then help with your physical health, because again, everything is connected. The body, the brain, we're all connected together. The best thing for you to do is, again, reach out to Richard's. I say that slowly. So it's Richard at Trauma Recovery recoveryanonymous.com. He will get in touch with you, and he will set up a time, if it's something that you want to do, to help you release your past. And I think that's absolutely amazing that you can help people with this. And beauty of technologies, we can do it, like you said, from all over the world. I'm sitting here talking to you in the New Orleans area. You're in Thailand. We're 12 or 13 hours apart. We can still sit here and look at each other and help each other and laugh and cry and do whatever it is to support each other. So, Richard, I really appreciate you being on my show today, a little different aspect of health, not just the physical side, but the emotional side. So thank you for coming on today.
It's going to finish with one last thing.
Sure.
I know what you do with the physical side of it. I like the idea that we're spiritual beings in physical bodies. It's like you're driving a car. We've got to look after the car, but we've also got to look after the driver inside the car. It is all connected. If we're not looking after the driver inside the car can't drive on its own. It needs someone who's healthy to drive the car. But then again, if you're looking after the car, the driver isn't going anywhere if there's no petrol in the car and water in the car and oil in the car and whatever. So it is all connected. But if you're feeling depressed for a moment, just smile, even the smallest smile, and your whole spirit changes. You can be utterly depressed and just force yourself to smile and just focus on having and experiencing that smile. And in that moment, you'll find your depression will go for it. Even if it's only for 10 seconds, you could do 10 seconds and you have 500 seconds. You have really 5 minutes of, not depression, just by smiling. So it's so powerful. It's part of the spirit. It's expressions, smiling, laughing, crying. They're all expressions of the spirit. The crying is for releasing all of your trauma. Let's just use crying only because you never stop crying. But you're letting all this out of your body. Yawning is very good too for releasing anxiety, especially. Yawning is really, really, your eyes will go very tired and tears will come when you're yawning. You're letting get all this anxiety. But again, the driver has to be, but also the car. I think it's a lovely blend of us meeting here where you're looking after the body, the car, and I'm looking after the driver. I'm like, thank you all very much. And the last thing I want to say is, give God a second chance. You deserve a second chance. You deserve a second chance. Work together. Do it on your own. Don't tell anybody. You'll benefit greatly. Thank you very much, Matt.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. Love the analogy. So once again, that's Richard Tierney. You can find him at TraumaRecoveryAnonymous.com. He's a creator of Trauma Recovery Anonymous. So this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal Podcast. While you're looking on Amazon for his, why don't you flip over to The Athlete in the Game of Life? Don't just order the book. How about the audio book? Why is that special? Because I'm the one narrating it, right? Not only did I write the words, but I'm going to tell them to you in your ear at the same time. So check us out on Amazon. Again, Richard Tierney, Matt Peel. It's Matt Peel, the Peel Appeal Podcast. And until next time, I will chat with you later.
Are you ready to get in the game? Get personal help. Sign up for our newsletter and pick up your copy of Athlete in the Game of Life, the book, all at mattpeel.com. Thanks for listening.